We'll be discussing about the amplitude modulation. I hope it is visible. Amplitude modulation. So we have already we have already studied the process of frequency translation in the earlier class. Now, how is it different from amplitude modulation? That we will see now. Huh? So let me first write the definition of amplitude modulation, or AM. Okay. So amplitude modulation may be defined as a system in which the maximal amplitude of the carrier wave is made proportional to the instantaneous value or the amplitude of the modulating or baseband signal. Let me write the definition. You could note it. So amplitude modulation may be defined as a system in which the maximum amplitude of the carrier wave is made proportional to the instantaneous value which is basically the amplitude of the modulating or baseband signal, Okay, I hope you have understood the definition. Let me explain the definition to you in a different way. So what we are essentially doing in amplitude modulation is according to the instantaneous amplitude of the baseband signal. This is the baseband signal. So according to the instantaneous amplitude of the baseband signal, we are changing the amplitude of the carrier signal. Carrier is basically a high frequency signal like this. Okay, so this is the carrier. So the amplitude of the carrier is varied in this case. So according to the baseband signal amplitude, it will be varied. In this way, it will be varied. So if we vary it in this way, the signal that we will be getting, the output signal that we will be essentially getting, it will be like this. This is the envelope. These dotted lines actually represent the envelope of the modulated signal, and the modulated signal looks like this. So the frequency of this modulated signal is equal to the center frequency is actually equal to the like the frequency of the carrier. Okay, the center frequency is equal to the carrier frequency basically, and the signal actually looks like this. So as the like whatever the definition is there, same have been explained here. I hope you have understood it. So let us now do a mathematical analysis. Okay, a mathematical analysis of this amplitude modulated signal. Okay, we have already seen the equation for the baseband signal. Now we'll see the equation for the carrier signal, and then we will take a modulating signal and we will come up to the equation of amplitude modulation. Okay, so let us consider a sinusoidal carrier wave. Okay, that sinusoidal carrier wave is represented as Vc of t is equal to AC cos omega ct. Okay, so this is the basically the carrier. Vc of t is equal to AC cos omega ct is the carrier. So let me write that AC is the maximum amplitude. Is the maximum amplitude of the carrier wave. Okay, and your omega c is the carrier frequency. Omega c is the carrier frequency, as we know. Okay, so now let us take a modulating signal also. So this signal that I have written here is basically the carrier. Okay, Now let us take a modulating signal. So let Vm of t denotes the modulating or baseband signal, or the baseband signal. Okay. So according to the process of frequency translation, what should be the modulated signal? Okay. You have seen that this is the modulating or the baseband signal, right? And the one which I have highlighted in violet is basically the carrier signal. So can you tell me how the modulated signal will look like? What will be the equation of the modulated signal? However, there is a problem actually. Essentially, what we would have done, Vc of t multiplied with Vm of t is what we actually want. But the problem is that whatever multipliers are actually available physically, okay, whatever multipliers means, there if you give this signal Vc of t to a multiplier and another signal Vm of t to the multiplier, the output should have been, ideally should have been Vc of t multiplied with Vm of t. But practically, that is not the case. Okay, so practically when you multiply whatever practical multipliers we have, transistor multiplier or whatever you use, they will not only give you the product. Okay, along with the product, they will give you the input signals. Okay, so that is a problem. So what happens, normally when you multiply two signals using a physical multiplier, you get the product and the two different signals and two different input signals. So the one of these signals, which is your Vm of t, this could be easily blocked. If you use a band pass filter, this could be easily blocked. However, this carrier that is there, this carrier actually remains. You cannot take out the carrier that easily. Okay. So the modulated signal will be like this. It will consist of the product as well as this input signal that is there, which is the carrier signal will be also present. So that's why the standard equation for amplitude modulated wave will be not only the product, it will also consist the carrier. Got it? So now let us look at the equation. Okay. So the standard equation for your amplitude modulated, AM in short for amplitude modulated wave, may be expressed as your, it is denoted by S of t, that is the modulated signal, which is equal to your Vm of t multiplied with cos omega ct. So this is basically the modulated signal multiplied with the carrier, the product term, that plus your AC cos omega ct. Okay, so you could see this is the modulated signal or the product signal, and this is basically the carrier that is present. Okay, so that's why the equation for amplitude modulated wave looks like this. Okay, and now if you take cos omega ct common here from these two terms, you will get S of t is equal to AC plus your Vm of t. Okay, and then cos omega ct. So the equation looks like this. I hope you have understood why the equation is in this form. You will find that amplitude modulated wave will be of this form because of the presence of this input signal, the carrier. Okay. So now let us look at the spectrum of this amplitude modulated wave, how it looks like spectrally. Okay. So how can we look at the spectrum of this wave? What is the process? Can you tell me? So spectrum of AM wave or your frequency domain representation. So we have to find the Fourier transform here. So to find the Fourier transform, okay, short FT in short, of your Vm of t cos omega ct. First term is Vm of t cos omega ct. Let us find the Fourier transform of this term. Then the next term is cos omega ct. We will also find it for it. Okay. So your Vm of t cos omega ct, okay, is equal to how much? your Vm of t, okay, multiplied with half e to the power j omega ct plus e to the power minus j omega ct. Okay, got it? So now I could simply use the frequency shifting property of the Fourier transform and I could evaluate it. Okay, so let me just write it in this way: Vm of t into cos omega ct is equal to, I am just multiplying that Vm of t inside that bracket. Okay, so it will be like this: half will be outside, okay, half Vm of t, okay, e to the power j omega ct. Now that plus half Vm of t e to the power minus j omega ct. Got it? Now, if the Fourier transform of your small Vm of t, small Vm of t, this term, small Vm of t is actually capital Vm of omega. Okay, capital Vm of omega. Can we write it in this way? See, Vm of t cos omega ct, okay, after Fourier transform, okay, Fourier transform, the two-way arrow denotes that it is reversible. We can come back from a Fourier domain to the frequency domain to the time domain. So can we write it like this: half, okay, then your Vm, right, capital V here now, capital V subscript small m of omega minus omega c, that plus capital V subscript m omega plus omega c. Got it? So we have simply used the frequency shifting property of the Fourier transform. So similarly, we could find the Fourier transform of AC cos omega ct also. Let us do that. So similarly, the FT for Fourier transform in short of your AC cos omega ct is also to be found out. Okay, so it will be like this: 2 pi multiplied with AC by 2. Okay, then in the brackets it will be del of omega plus omega c plus del of omega minus omega c. Got it? So in this way. Okay, so this 2 will be cancelled and we will only have this pi AC here, isn't it? Okay, so now that we have got the Fourier transforms, for the first term we have already got the Fourier transform, as you could see here. Let me just highlight it. So here you have got the Fourier transform for the first term, okay, half capital Vm of omega minus omega c plus Vm V subscript m, omega plus omega c. This is the Fourier transform of the first term. For the second term, this is the Fourier transform. As you could see, 2 pi times AC by 2, or which is equal to pi AC, pi AC into del of omega plus omega c. Okay, so these are the terms that we have got. So now what we could do is we could just plot these signals. Okay, let me just write it combinedly and then we will plot it. Okay, so the Fourier transform of the AM wave is given by your S of omega. S of omega is the Fourier transform of small s of t. Always remember one thing: whenever we are writing the Fourier transform, when this omega will be inside this bracket, at that time whatever is there in the left, here it is S, so that is capital S, and when it is t inside this bracket, this S is small s at that time. So S of omega is equal to half Vm of omega minus omega c plus Vm of omega plus omega c, and that plus again pi AC, because 2 were cancelled, and in bracket del of omega plus omega c, that plus del of omega minus omega c. Got it? So now let us plot it. Okay, we have got the Fourier transform. Now the time is to plot it. So let me just show you the modulating signal first. Okay, so the modulating signal is located here. This is your 0. Let's say this is your omega m, and this is your minus omega m. Okay, so this is your Vm of t. What is it? This is your Vm of t. That means we could write it as capital Vm of omega, sub V subscript m of omega. So this is the Fourier transform. Now, if we look at the carrier will be located at omega c and minus omega c. So carrier is here. Either at carrier is at omega c and minus omega c, and it will be like this. Okay, so it will be like this. Got it? So this is nothing but your carrier. The second line here shows you the carrier. Now let us look at the modulated signal. Okay, so in the modulated signal, you could see the first term is half, then Vm of omega minus omega c. Okay, so it will be located here. Let me show you. So this is the signal. Huh? This is your omega c. Okay, and this distance is your omega m. This width is your omega m. Similarly, this width is your again omega m. So this is your Vm of omega minus omega c, and the other is your Vm of omega plus omega c. So it will be like this here. So this is your minus omega c, and here also the widths are like will be the same. This is your omega m, and here also the width is in this case omega m. Okay, so Vm of omega plus omega c. Okay, however, see, this is something that we have plotted from this equation. So these things we have plotted. Let me show you this omega minus omega c and omega plus omega c we have already plotted. However, you could see there are two other terms, del of omega plus omega c, del of omega minus omega c. So let us plot them also. So if we plot them, they will be shown like this. Let me just change the color. It will be easily visible that way. So this is that carrier, del of omega minus omega c, and this is your here, this is your del of omega plus omega c. So these are the terms that were present in the equation for the amplitude modulated wave, as you could see here. Okay. So let us understand what are these two terms. We have already seen that what are the two terms. One is obviously the modulated signal, which we have represented here in blue. Let me just shade it, and it will be much easily visible actually. So whatever you see in this blue color, okay, so this is basically the modulated signal. Okay, this is the modulated signal, and the red thing that you see here, the two red impulses actually represent the carrier. So these are the two terms. So let me write about these terms here. You could note it. Did you get it? Did you understood about the spectrum, or any doubts? I hope you have understood it. Huh? So let me write what are the two factors. So in the above AM wave, okay, there are two factors. Okay, two factors. The first one represents spectrum of your original or baseband signal. Okay, and original or baseband signal which is shifted in the positive as well as negative direction by the factor omega c. Got it? Omega c. Similarly, let us look at the second term. So on the other hand, The second factor, which is actually given as your pi AC, okay, into del of omega plus omega C plus your del of omega minus omega C, okay, represents the presence of carrier, represents the presence of your carrier. Carrier signal, okay. So that is the two impulses, each having strength equal to equal to your pi AC, okay. So these are the terms. So then let me just redraw that spectrum, and then we will discuss the different types of amplitude modulation. So from that spectrum only we will get the different types of amplitude modulation. Okay. So now let us discuss the different types of amplitude modulation. So now let us discuss the different types of amplitude modulation. Okay. So let me just redraw the spectrum, and from that spectrum we will come to know what are the different types of amplitude modulation. Let me show you. So this is the modulated signal. As you these triangles, they show you the modulated signal, okay, and the red ones, let me just draw them. The red ones, these red impulses here, they show you the presence of carrier. So this is sometimes this is called your carrier, okay. This is also your carrier, and this is basically the modulated signal. Give me a minute. Better I change the color, it will be better. So this is basically the modulated signal. These triangles represent the modulated signal. However, inside this triangle, if you see this shaded portion that I am shading right now, this portion, okay, this is called the upper sideband. Try to understand that. This is your upper sideband, USB. Let me write it here. Upper, UPPER, side band. Got it? So upper sideband. And the other side, which is actually unshaded here, that is basically the LSB, or the lower sideband, LSB. Okay, it is the lower sideband. Okay, so there are different types of amplitude modulation in which one or more of these components will be present or absent. Okay, so the presence or absence of one or more of these components, lower sideband, upper sideband, carrier, etc., makes different kinds of modulation, amplitude modulation, or different types of amplitude modulation. Okay, just keep this like diagram in your mind, and then we will go to one by one to the different modulation techniques. So the first modulation technique, or the first variant of amplitude modulation, is the double sideband full carrier. So this signal that you have seen here, which whatever we have drawn here, in which the modulated signal as well as carrier, everything is present. So that is called your double sideband full carrier. Whatever we have seen now, whatever signal we have seen now, that is the double sideband full carrier. Okay, number one type. So why it is double sideband? Because the lower sideband and the upper sideband both are present. As you could see here, the lower sideband, which is the unshaded portion, the upper sideband, which is the shaded portion, as well as the red colored carrier, all of these things are present. So that's why it is called double sideband full carrier. Okay, so the second type is your double sideband suppressed carrier. So let me show you the spectrum. So in a double sideband suppressed carrier, you will have a signal like this. Okay, so let me show you the shaded portion and as well as the unshaded portion. So these things will be present. The upper sideband, okay, the lower sideband is present. So what is absent here? So carrier is absent here. So this kind of signal is your double sideband. Double sideband because the two sidebands are obviously present, and suppressed carrier. Okay, later on we will be studying how to suppress that carrier. So this is your double sideband suppressed carrier. Then the third one is the single sideband. As the name implies, so it will be like this. It will be either like this. Okay. So it will be either like this or it could be like this. Okay. So either the upper sideband USB will be present or the lower sideband will be present. So this kind of transmission is called single sideband. Okay. In some of the single sidebands, you will find that they will also transmit the carrier. They may transmit the carrier. Okay. Carrier might be present. In some of the transmissions, carrier might be present. Okay. So based on that, okay, if your carrier is present or absent, we have different kind of SSB again. So this kind of modulation is called your single sideband. Okay, the third type. So single sideband could be without carrier. Okay, and sometimes carrier might be sent for the ease of demodulation, obviously. So single sideband with pilot carrier or single sideband with carrier is possible. So if it has pilot carrier or with carrier, if this thing is written, then this red colored component will be present. Okay, the carrier will be present. So this may be there or it may not be there. If it is not there, it is without carrier. Okay, so then there is the fourth type of amplitude modulation, which is called the vestigial sideband. Normally what happens if you try to generate this SSB signal, which was like this. Okay, so it is quite complicated. Unless your modulating signal has some characteristic that are required actually when you are generating SSB, that kind of characteristic, if it has, it will be somewhat like it will be easy to generate. However, if you have a video signal, let's say you have a video signals actually have many low frequency component. Okay, so these have really low frequency components. So if you try to generate single sideband of video signal, so it is impossible actually. So what we normally do is that in place of eliminating one of these sidebands completely, like in this case we had eliminated one sideband completely, so we will not eliminate both the sidebands completely. What we will do essentially is, so let's say this is the sideband, so we will send this much of this signal. Okay, you could see that one sideband is not completely removed, as you could see here. So as you could see here, that one sideband is not completely removed. Part of one sideband is removed. Okay, so this way what happens, the low frequency component which are present here, where I have marked in yellow, there the low frequency components are present. So the low frequency components will not be totally eliminated, they will be present, and along with it we will be able to save certain amount of bandwidth. As you could see here, when we are only transmitting upper sideband or we are only transmitting lower sideband, we are saving considerable amount of bandwidth. So in this vestigial sideband, we will be obviously saving some amount of bandwidth, but not as much as we were saving in single sideband. Okay, so this kind of modulation is called your vestigial sideband. Okay, so these are the different types of amplitude modulation. Okay, I hope you have understood the different types. So one by one we will again discuss what is your double sideband. We have whole section dedicated to it. Single sideband, vestigial sideband, we will be discussing them one by one. Now next thing we will be discussing is the bandwidth. Let me tell you what is actually the bandwidth. Okay, so what is the bandwidth? Let's say we have a signal, okay, and we have found the Fourier transform of that signal. Okay, so we have found the Fourier transform of that signal, and that signal is occupying, let's say, from f1 to f2. Okay, this is the amount of bandwidth the signal is, this is the range of frequencies that the signal is occupying. Okay, so it will be minus f1, this will be minus f2. So that means this is the band of frequencies it is occupying. Then the bandwidth will be how much? F2 minus f1 will just give you the bandwidth. So this is the range of frequencies that is occupied by a signal, that are occupied by a signal. So in the case of amplitude modulation, we will also find out the range of frequencies that it occupies. Okay, let me just tell you what are the what will be the frequencies that will be occupied by a modulated amplitude modulated signal. Let me just show you here. We have seen the spectrum to be like this. This was our omega c. Yeah, so this was your omega c. This was your minus omega c, and I have told you that the width here is how much? Omega m, and here also the width is omega m. So we could say that this point is nothing but omega c plus omega m, and this point here is omega c minus omega m. So from here we could actually find out the bandwidth. Can you tell me what will be the bandwidth if the frequencies are like this? This frequency is omega c minus omega m. This one is omega c plus omega m. So let us write the same thing here. Okay, 2 omega m will be the bandwidth. Now you could note it. For positive frequencies, the highest frequency, okay, the highest frequency component of the AM wave equals how much? Omega c plus omega m. So this is the highest frequency, and the lowest frequency component equals how much? Omega c minus omega m. So the difference between these two frequencies will give us the bandwidth. Let me also write that. So the difference between the two frequencies defines the transmission bandwidth. The transmission bandwidth, which is denoted by B subscript T, BT for transmission bandwidth. Okay, for an AM wave. Okay, so which is actually twice the message signal bandwidth. Which is your omega m. Okay, that is, we could write it like this also. BT is equal to your omega c plus omega m minus your omega c minus omega m, which is actually equal to 2 omega m. Here the units will be how much? Radians per second. Similarly, if you want to express this in the terms of hertz, so your transmission bandwidth will be twice Fm, which will be in hertz. Okay, in this way. So now can you tell me, if we use single sideband instead of the double sideband? So see, we were using double sideband, something like this. So upper sideband as well as the lower sideband was there. So the bandwidth was how much? Your 2 omega m, or in the this is in radians per second, and if we want to express in hertz, it will be 2 Fm, this bandwidth. Okay, in hertz. So in place of these two sidebands, if I only transmit this shaded portion or one of the sidebands, can you tell me what will be the required bandwidth? If one of these is actually transmitted, it will be omega m. Here also the same thing will be there. It will be also your omega n. Okay. So in the terms of hertz, if you want to write it in the terms of hertz, it will be Fm. So you could see why we have different types of amplitude modulation. So you could see that here we are saving half of the bandwidth. Okay, let me tell you, bandwidth is a very scarce resource. You will see that in few days the government of India will be doing a spectrum auction, in which it will be like selling this bandwidth. The bandwidth actually belongs to the government, and the government will be selling this bandwidth. You will be like amazed that some megahertz of bandwidth or some gigahertz of bandwidth will be sold for billions. Okay, it is such a scarce resource. So that's why it is always the aim in a communication system to we actually try to optimize this bandwidth. The lower the bandwidth requirement, it is always better. So if somebody asks you to find out the bandwidth of an amplitude modulated signal, double sideband, you could easily find out using the formula. And if somebody asks you to find out the bandwidth of a SSB or a single sideband modulated signal, you could always find it using this formula.